All right, everyone. Welcome once again. It is Friday, and you know what that means? It is time for Manufacturing E-commerce Success. I am one of the co-hosts here, Damon Pistolka. That pretty gentleman right over there, Kurt Anderson, co-host. Going to take it away in a moment. We're going to be talking today about building a thriving family business with emotional intelligence with the Mischio family. Kurt, take it away.
Dude, Damon, I did you get a good night's sleep last night? Like,
yes, I did.
I text Damon. I said, dude, you got to go to bed early for this one because like you need a lot of rest for
8:15.
That a boy. So hey, this is a huge day now, and unfortunately, I won't be here for the rest of the episode because whenever there's the word intelligence in the headline of our show, unfortunately, I cannot be here. My wife told me that. I'm just kidding. So, all right, you guys are stuck with me. So, hey, I want to do some introductions here. This is I'm like proud Uncle Kurt today. We're going to go around the horn. So, let's start with the Patriot. Let's start with Greg. Greg's a seasoned, repeat offender. We've got Greg Mischio here. Greg, happy Friday. How are you, dude?
Happy Friday, Kurt and Damon. Great to be back as always. Appreciate you having us on.
Right. Now, dude, you need to be a little better judge of character because not only have you come back over and over, now you drag your family into this little thing. So, hey, let's do some introductions. How about your wonderful, amazing, beautiful wife? Who can you, Sharon, give a little introduction. How are you? What's going on here?
Hi, I'm great. I'm really excited to be a part of this and hear what everybody has to say and hopefully add something interesting.
Oh, well, we can't wait. You know what? We might just heck with the guys. We might just talk to you the whole time. So just kidding. So now we've got a wonderful family affair. We have the Mischio family just coming to us live from Wisconsin. And we've got the one, the only, the favorite child. Don't tell your daughter. We've got Sam Mischio in the house. Sam, happy Friday. How are you, man?
Hey, Kurt. Hey, Damon. I'm doing well. Really happy, really excited and honored to be here. Thanks for this opportunity.
Okay, so now, Greg, as you well know, I'm a huge raving fan of Dad, right? You've been on the show. We've talked about George, I think, a number of times. What an inspiration. You've got a great blog post on your website, if I recall, kind of telling his story. And now I found out another great little, Sharon, you got to just tell us this little connection that you just told us before we went live. How did you and Greg, how did you come together?
We came together in high school because our dads previously had lived in New Jersey in towns right next to each other, but did not know each other. And then they each got jobs at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. So that is how Greg and I met.
And you guys been together, what, 2 or 3 years now? How long has it been?
Well, 38 years since we started dating.
Oh, man. 38 years.
38.
39. Actually, we just heard 39.
39.
I was going to correct you there, Sharon. I was going to.
No.
Well, Greg, good man. You know better, right? Never correct in public, right? So all right, let's dive in. This is such an honor. You're out there. Drop us a note. Let us know you're there. First off. Secondly, do us a favor, connect with Sharon, connect with Greg, connect with Sam on LinkedIn or whatever social media platform you're coming to us at. We would, trust me, there's a ton of valuable information. We're going to dive into family business. And I'll tell you, this is a great topic. We have not gone deep on this one, Damon. I can't wait to dive in. Greg, I'm going to come to you in 1 second, but I have this wonderful question that I love to ask, and that's how I know all about George. So Sharon, I've decided I'm going to hit you with it.
Okay.
Sharon, little girl growing up, now you got this Jersey thing going on. You got the Wisconsin. When you were a little girl growing up, before you met the wonderful, amazing, incredible Greg Mischio, who was your hero? Who was your hero when you were a little girl growing up?
Ooh, that's a good question. I am an only child. So I think, honestly, both of my parents were my heroes.
Nice.
We were a super, super close family, and my parents had me when they were a little bit older, so they were very, very involved. Yeah. And I would have to say my mom and my dad.
All right, great. One of our favorite answers right there, Sharon. All right, if we were doing like that newlywed game, I'm gonna ask you. Do you know who Greg said? So we said George. But as a matter of fact, I think I brought up George. Greg, you know who I'm talking about. Sharon, do you have any idea when I asked Greg, your husband, your favorite husband, who his hero was when he was growing up. Who do you think he said?
Steve Austin.
Oh, you were close. You were very close. Even by any chance, it was Steve Martin. So Steve Martin was a wild and crazy guy. So if you're, he's still around. So if you're a certain age, Google Steve Martin. Sam, how about you, man?
Netflix thing on him. It's
What's
awesome.
that?
There's a Netflix thing on Steve Martin. That's great.
Yeah, I just read about that.
Oh, it's incredible.
Hey, you just filled my weekend, Damon. Thank you.
There you go.
Hey, we've got a few people dropping comments.
Yeah, we do. Let's get going here. We got Schuler here today. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Schuler.
Isiolula. Sorry, man. I'm sorry about that. We got Bruce stopping by. We got Jason in the house. Ooh, go UWW. Stepson goes there. That's cool. And then we got Samuel stopping in. Stone cold.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. Absolutely love it. So, all right, guys, let's dive in. Sam, how about I'm going to throw this at you. I'm putting you on the spot because mom and dad are here. Little guy growing up in the great state of Wisconsin. Who was your hero?
It's a good question, honestly. I would say there was maybe a time growing up, but this answer has actually developed as I've gotten older. I've had a hero in so many facets of my life. Obviously, home life, mom and dad, model everything I do after them and how I'm trying to build my own adult career now. And with I would say athletics, can't look too far. JJ Watt, he's just like 30. He grew up about 30 minutes from where I'm living right now. He's not only just an insane athlete, but his work ethic is borderline maniacal. And that's something I've tried to take not only in athletics of my own, but then also professional career as well. I would say professionalism and just kind of like I would throw Nick Saban out there. Actually, I know a lot of people don't like Nick, but I've had the pleasure of seeing him present at an event, and the wisdom he shared in the span of like an hour changed my life. I use it on a daily basis. And in between, I mean, the sideline rants are one thing, but he's gotten pretty wise in his old age, and he has shared a lot of that wisdom with the world, and it's made a really big difference in my life. So I'll cut it off there. There's a lot more to answer that question.
Man, phenomenal answer. And just, hey, you must have really good parents because those were great answers. So, the Watt brothers, go out and buy a box of Wheaties. I think they're hanging out in the box of Wheaties. They must have done something right. And Nick Saban, whether, if you're a Bama supporter or not, what Nick Saban has done, hands down, greatest college coach, whether unarguably, bar none. So, all right, two great answers. Damon, what an inspiration so far.
No doubt, man. No
doubt. Okay. Hey, we got Dale here today, Damon. He says, go team Mischio. How about that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dale's. Thanks for coming by today.
All right. So, hey, let us know you're out there. Drop us a note. Give us a big hello. Connect with the Mischio family on LinkedIn. Please do. You'll thank us later. Greg, I'm going to start with you. Winbound. We're here to talk about family business. And man, Sharon, I cannot wait to dig into your expertise. Let's start here. Just share a little bit. I'm going to lay the foundation. Who and what is Winbound? How do you and your team make the world a better place?
Right. So we are a digital marketing agency. We specialize in manufacturers. We create content and then use marketing to distribute the content to different channels. Work specifically really well with small 1 to 2 person marketing teams or companies, manufacturers that don't have a marketing team at all. And we usually work with manufacturers that are sales-driven organizations. We like to say we create this content to make a digital twin of their sales team and help people get to know them, like them, and trust them.
Well, dude, in my world, you are the king of know, like, trust. You introduced that term. I shamelessly use that. And we reference you, Damon. We always reference our friend Greg when we do that, right? Don't we?
Yeah, so many things.
I think we do. I don't know. Do we owe him royalty for that? I don't know. We probably owe him something, right?
Hey, like all smart marketers, I ripped it off from somebody else.
Hey, I didn't even know that. So I borrowed it from you. So, but anyway, you mentioned that was my next question. You mentioned the word 2 words. I guess it is 2 words, right? Digital twin. Can you please share with folks what curious minds want to know? What do you mean by this digital twin? What is that?
Yeah, that we have to be careful in the manufacturing world because there's so many engineers and engineer minds. And so they go to the literal interpretation of that, but it's more of an analogy or a metaphor. What we're trying to do is, because people, I think up to 60 to 70% of the customer journey occurs before a meaningful interaction with the sales team. People are out there researching online. So you need to get out there online with your messaging, and you want that messaging, you want that content to function like a salesperson. You want to get people to know you with talking about their pain points. You want the content to give them insights so they'll like you and how they can improve their business. And then you have to give out the trust elements, case studies, testimonials, things like that. Now, you should have just asked Sharon all of this, because she can recite this from memory from hearing me go through this spiel in car rides and on the phone. So, but that is essentially what we mean with the digital twin. So we're not literally replacing the salesperson, or creating some kind of AI bot. It's your content is functioning like a salesperson. Do I have that right, Sharon?
Absolutely. Very good.
Awesome. Hey, that's fantastic. And so, Sharon, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tie in. So I'm going to dig into your background. But before I go there, so Greg just kind of hit it on the head. You know, you've heard his pitch over and over. For spouses out there, what's it like being married to an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of ups and downs. And I think, over the years, I think the older you get to, you understand that the highest of the highs aren't going to stay there, but also the lowest of the lows aren't going to stay there. And you are able to deal with that a lot better the more experience that you have. So it definitely takes patience. It takes, one day it's like, this is it. I think I need to do something else. And then the next day it's like, this is the best thing ever, So you just kind of get used to that, and you ask questions. And I'm really glad that I have a background in coaching, because it has really come in handy.
Greg, it must be very convenient being married to a coach, right? Especially one that works on emotional intelligence. Sharon, we might have to talk offline, but
yeah.
So all right, let's slide over here. Sam is a young guy growing up. We talked about your heroes if you're just joining us. So obviously looked up to mom and dad. You grew up, dad is an entrepreneur. What was it like as a son growing up with an entrepreneurial father?
There was I learned a lot. There were actually a lot of breakfast conversations are what jump out to me the most, especially when I was coming up through like elementary and middle school. Dad would often tell Anna and me over eggs in the morning, like what was going on, if he was writing an article, I remember looking over the Winbound logo when Winbound was first getting launched. Dad asked my input to help pick the color of orange that we would choose for the logo. So there was always a degree of involvement in that. You saw things, you picked up bits and pieces here and there long before I joined the Winbound team. So it was never like there was no like pressure or anything. There was always just like, here, if there's information, if you want it, it's always, of course, here, we're going to talk about it. You'll pick up interesting bits and pieces as you get older. And it just organically kind of seeped in as we went through. It was really nice.
Well, I love it. Damon, hey, we've got a couple. Captain Kirk dropped a couple comments.
Yeah, I know he did. He said, first one, he said, no like, no respect and trust. There we go. And then he's like, no digital clones. He loves that part about it. Then we've got another comment here. I've wondered this for years about the digital twin. He said, the digital twin revealed. There we go. Thanks so much for the comments.
I love it. And again, if you want to go deeper, Greg dropped, Greg, that might have gone to, if you want to put that in a chat, might have gone to the other chat, but go to Winbound. And if you Google digital twin, Greg Mischio, go to Greg Mischio's LinkedIn page. Go to Winbound. And one thing that I love about Winbound, there's a lot of marketers, Damon, I don't know if maybe I'm guilty of it, but, we call it the cobbler's kids with no shoes. You go to Winbound, there is a ton. He's the marketer that has a wealth of information on his website, blogs like crazy. And one thing that I really love and admire that you do, Greg, is like you're always shining light on other people, even competitors, other people in marketing. You do an amazing job. But if you're looking for some B2B marketing expertise, go to Winbound, and there's just a ton of information. Greg, let's come back to you. Damon, go ahead.
We got a great question here from Dale, and we can get this answered while we're going in there.
Shame on me, right?
If I missed it, what was the moment of inspiration for the name Winbound? Dale asks.
Yeah, it actually, in retrospect, the name did not pass the radio test. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your company, think of the radio test. Can you say your name and somebody could hear it on the radio and be able to spell it correctly? Well, I should have done that because everybody says Windbound. I have to spell the thing out whenever I'm talking to vendors or whoever. It's kind of a nightmare, but it actually started with, because we do inbound marketing. Content marketing is sometimes called inbound marketing. You're bringing content that brings people to the site. And then when we initially started out, and we still do this, we did conversion testing. So not only were we going to bring people to the site, but we were going to do conversion testing on the website, so you would get the win, with your inbound. So I actually, again, I was talking with a friend about this, and he brainstormed the idea, and again, like a good marketer, I ripped it right off. And that's where it came from.
So you know what, Greg, I think I love the name, and I love what I usually hear you say is, hey, when you team up with the Mischios, you are bound to win. So again, Winbound. I personally, I think it passes the radio test. I love it. Okay. Great name. So I want to tie in with Sharon made a comment. Greg, is that true? I wanted to dispel a myth. Are there highs and lows in entrepreneurship?
Just a couple.
One or two, right?
Yeah.
So what year did you start Winbound?
This is actually our 10th year.
Our 10th year. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So just what I want to do, I want to chime in. Again, we're here to talk about family business with emotional intelligence, which is way out of my league. But just share a little bit like the 10-year journey. How have you grown? How have you become more seasoned? If I could use the word mature, how have you grown as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think it's a good segue into the whole emotional intelligence discussion. I started out with no real ambition to be an agency owner. I just thought it was a great opportunity. I had a lot of writer friends who were always looking for work, and we were getting clients and we needed great writers, and I liked working with writers. So I'm like, oh, heck, we'll try this agency and we'll try and build this. And I would say that definitely in my early days of management, and I think my team will back me up, or at least one of the people who's been with us for a while has really kind of seen the difference. I was definitely lacking on the emotional intelligence side. I was not a real empathetic editor. And, I think I came from the school of hard knocks kind of, I'm going to just edit this and, you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure when this was, but it was before I hired Sam. I had given him a book by Gary, Sam pronounced the last name.
Oh, Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Always
blow up his last name.
Was it Jab, Jab, Punch? Or was it one of those books, right?
What's the title again, Sam?
12 and a half.
Yeah. So Sam, I gave this to Sam, a friend of mine had given it to me, and he was talking about the book's about soft skills. And, me, I'm like, hey man, I don't have time for this. I am tactics and strategies. We got to win. Here, Sam, you want to read this? And I think at this time, I'm not sure if you were in college or you were just starting one of your first jobs, Sam, but Sam gave it back to me and he said, hey, Dad, Gary said that emotional intelligence is going to be the number one hiring trait for people in the future. And that just stopped me. And I'm like, what? First of all, what is emotional intelligence? And what is he talking about? So I read the book, and there was also things going on with me personally that I think, I don't know, I was not like, just in my relationship, I think Sharon and I have had a great relationship over the years, but there would be things that I would think about, like, geez, if we got in an argument over something, I would think about myself and how I was during the argument. And I didn't like it. I didn't like me.
Mhm.
And so I read this book by Gary from Sam.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, I don't do any of this. I have no empathy. I mean, no might be a strong word, but I don't have much empathy.
Yeah.
And really it really started all there. And so then I really started to do a deep dive into emotional intelligence, and Sharon could probably tell you more, but I feel like it definitely transitioned me as a boss. And that's when, I never considered Sam as a possibility for coming on, because I think Sharon could probably shed some light on this. She said a few years ago, you would not have been ready for him. You would not have been a good boss for him. But just that transition, seeing people, it's just, and my team has, like, I definitely am different when I'm dealing with my team. My one employee said, like, there was like a moment where you flip the switch, and he's like, now I can't imagine a better, he's just very happy to be working with us.
That's
wow.
awesome.
All right, Damon. How about, so Sharon, on our little show, we call these drop the mic moments. That might be, then we have, when it gets higher level, we call it moment of silence. Let's just like take a moment just to savor. Greg, all right, how about a round of applause for Greg right there? Dude, I don't know, did everybody get chills? I mean, listen to what you just heard, right? Had the wherewithal, had the humility to understand, like, I want to be better. I want to get better. I want to, like, be a better boss, better teammate, better leader, and like, dude, man, that was good. Okay, Sharon, your background, if I understand, I did a little stalking, just a little bit. But were you a school teacher? Did I say that correctly? So guess it, man. I need to get together with the Mischios. I'm coming out. My wife Jill, she's a 25-year school. She teaches pre-K.
Yeah.
I think I saw you did first graders. So share with us just a little bit on your background as a teacher, and then I'm going to get into, you are now a parent coach, if I understand it.
Yes.
So give us a little background. I want to lay the foundation there. Then we're going to get into this emotional intelligence.
Sure. Yeah. So I taught first grade. I taught fourth grade.
Nice.
Worked with teenagers for a while. So lots of experience with kids. But in working with children, you're also working with their parents a lot. And I loved both. I loved my job very, very much. And it was kind of a natural thing to transition to being a parent coach. And the training that I got was really awesome, because to get into the particular program that I did, you had to already have a degree in education or sociology, or something like that, where you had the background. And it was really all about the coaching, this program, which was wonderful. So we read a lot of good books. And I really learned specific types of questions to ask, and that really make people bring out their own curiosity about what's going on, and make them think without getting offended or kind of shutting down their brain. It's about keeping them in a positive space in their brain, so that there's room to learn and grow. Because if we get a negative question right away, your brain will shut down and it can't do anything. So it just kind of came about in this amazing way, where Greg was doing some work, and he did a lot of work. He read the book Sam gave him. He started listening to a lot of podcasts about emotional intelligence. I mean, the man gets up at 5:30 or 6 every morning and works for a couple hours before he actually goes to work, and does his own learning. So, and then we go for really long walks every night, and we would talk about what I was learning in my program. And it really, I mean, I think the universe just sort of made this happen. It's just amazing how everything that I was learning, I could practice on him. Because the questioning, it doesn't matter if you're talking to a parent or a business owner or your own child. It's about getting people to think about how and why and what they can do to make changes, instead of yes or no questions. Did you screw up? Yes. Well, that's probably not going to get anybody anywhere. So, really getting curious and talking about, I wonder what happened. can you tell me more about what you were thinking when something went wrong? And so I listen to him do it now with not only his, people that are working, with it, for Winbound, but also the clients.
Right.
It works that way too. So it's pretty powerful.
Right. So just empowering yourself with different tools, different mechanisms to, again, like healthier communication, better relationship, better understanding. And I think, Greg, I don't know if you use this word, but, a little bit more selflessness and less selfishness, if I'm understanding that correctly. Damon, there's a question here that Rock LaManna. Rock, happy Friday, dude. He's got a question.
Rock.
Hey, Rock.
Greg. Who are Greg's heroes to inspire him to have the grit to the risk to be an entrepreneur, take the risk to be an entrepreneur, first of all, and also why ask Sam to suffer and sacrifice?
It's a good question. The grit, Rock is first of all, Rock is a great friend, and Rock and I've ghostwritten Rock's book, which is truly, I think, an amazing story called They Named You Right. And Rock is very inspirational. I've known Rock for years. He's a real inspiration in terms of grit and getting in there and taking the punches and getting back up. He's gone through the whole roller coaster ride. So I think, just inspiration wise for grit is just seeing so many people get out there and win and lose and get back up. We always say the only way you lose is to quit. And so I've seen so many people get in there and fight it out. And in terms of asking Sam to sacrifice and I forget what the other word was there, but I'll let Sam answer that. I just, all I would say is I try to preface this and try to give as many warnings to him that this is not going to be an easy road he's going to choose if he jumps on board.
So let's go there. So Rock, thank you for the question there. Rock. That is awesome. And Rock, I encourage you, if you don't mind, drop your book in the chat. I'd love for everybody to get a inspiring story in here. Yeah. Drop it in the chat. Everybody grab Rock's book. Greg was a big part of it, right? It's a ghost, man. Damon, like the many very talents of Greg Mischio. Sharon, how did you hit the lotto? My goodness gracious. So, all right, let's slide over to Sam.
Okay, let's just back up there. Greg hit the lotto.
Thank you.
Thank you. I stand corrected. I told you I probably shouldn't be on this episode. There's intelligence. I keep seeing that word intelligence. I'm like, why am I on this? All right, Sam, let's go here, my friend. So, hey, I've had the honor and privilege. I got to hang out with the Mischios in Austin, Texas. This, one of the highlights of 2024. Sam, just share a little bit your background. What were you doing previously to joining Winbound? And just walk us through. So say there's a next generation, we need this next generation coming into, whether you guys like, you definitely like it. You're part of manufacturing, right? We need young, energetic, passion, the skills, the talent that you bring to manufacturing. What were you doing before, and what inspired you to jump on board at Winbound?
So prior to joining Winbound, I was working for the headquarters of a sales and marketing fraternity that I was a part of during college.
Nice.
And that role, that was a people-facing role that I had, and it was, the fraternity is rooted in people, it deals in people, helps create salespeople. And so there was a lot of human learning that took place over those 3.5 years that I was there. So then looking to manufacturing and then just kind of being somewhat familiar with the work that Dad was doing with Winbound, that's kind of where manufacturing is going to end up going. There's a lot bigger, the people component of manufacturing is growing by the day. And it's evolving rapidly. I think now with 35% of the workforce that's going to be retiring in the next 5 to 10 years or so. There's a lot of training that's going to need to take place and a lot more new resource development that's going to need to be taking place in new ways. And COVID certainly expedited that process and inhibited some of the organic training that may have taken place otherwise just with observing on the job. There's probably a few year gap there in training. So kind of being able to blend the experience that I had with a whole with a new challenge with people that I love was an offer I couldn't refuse.
Nice.
Awesome. Hey, and I want to segue back. You mentioned the book, the Gary V book, 12 and a half. Strongly encourage everybody grab that book. How did that book come on your radar, and how amazing is that you passed that on to Dad? How did that book come on your radar?
I was given it as a gift, actually.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice.
Mom,
Yeah,
Dad.
I gave it to him because I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to read this. It's soft skills. Here, Sam, you got soft skills.
That's hysterical. You give it to him, he gives it back to you. So, all right, Greg, it just, man, we're like, it's like
so good.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Greg, let's go here. What was your thought, when Sam was growing up in high school, college, were there ever times where you're like, man, I wonder if my kids, I was just talking to an entrepreneur this morning, baby boomer, and, doesn't have the prodigal son, the prodigal daughter. What are my next steps? I'm getting tired. What do I do? Was there ever a process of like, hey, is this something I'm building, legacy, next steps? Take us there.
Yeah. So I didn't want Sam to get into this business. Marketing is really tough. I mean, it seems like a lot of fun, you get to be creative and stuff, but you got to produce results. And so it's a kind of a roller coaster ride. So, Sam growing up, and I'm sure Sharon can chime in, but, Sam he's always just like, we get a lot of compliments from friends and people who've met Sam over the years, just how conscientious he was. He has just always been a really giving, kind person. Definitely takes after Mom in that respect. And just has been a great kid. And the other thing about him, though, at every level he's been at, he's always been a winner. He was like a state champion, almost state champion in high school, runner up in the swimming. He's just always, every level he's got to in college. He was like president of his business and his social fraternity. Is like every step he's gone on, he's won. So I was kind of had that in the back of my head. And, but then I never knew what his path would be or what he would choose to do. And I never envisioned myself working with him, but we were up at a client's place, a family business, Delta Montech, and Wendy Stromberg, who is the second generation there and on the executive team, said to me, have you ever thought about asking Sam if he wants to come into the business? Because my daughter Anna is a dancer, and we're not hiring any dancers right now.
No. Yeah.
So I thought, no, I've never even thought of him wanting to come in. And what happened was, it kind of led to all this, was we were redoing our homepage, and I just ran it by Sam and his girlfriend Shelby, and they gave me all this great feedback, and especially Sam, and really stuff that made me think. So between that and the Gary V book, I'm like, hey, wait a second. I was at a spot where I needed somebody kind of at the entry level to come in and fill the role of customer success manager. But I didn't want to hire somebody who would just up and leave, get a couple years worth of knowledge and up and leave. Sam now knows he can't do that or he won't get fed at Christmas time. So got him locked in. But it just seemed like the planets aligned. And so we talked about it a lot. I was a lot of hesitancy on my part, probably less from just whether Sam can do the job and more, can I get him to the point where he needs to be, and more concerned with my own managerial skill and the possibility of letting him down. But I don't know. We both just decided to take the leap and got a lot of encouragement from Mom and still get it. And then we just celebrated his year anniversary the other day. So here we are.
All right, Damon, another moment of silence right there, dude. So, hey, couple comments. Hey, Kelly Robinson is here today.
Kelly Robinson dropping in, saying, hi, Greg.
Man.
She was laughing at something you had said. That's awesome. Roxanne worked with Greg in the Winbound team since 2010. That's awesome, man. And Rock also dropped the link in there for his book. So or the title in there. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks so much.
All right, Sharon, all right. we're going to dive deep. Sharon, I would love a little coaching lesson from you before we go there. What was going through your mind? Supportive, scary, excited when your husband and son, come together? What was your mind going through?
Right. Well, it is scary because you want your family to get along and you don't want work to get in the way of relationships. So, of course, I was nervous. I was also really excited because Greg was on this journey already by the time he decided to hire Sam. And so I knew, Sam has always had so much emotional intelligence. Greg and I would joke, like, how did we get this child who's like so much better than we are? Like, really, like he is so good. Just a good heart and just does the right thing without even thinking twice all the time. And so, it just seemed right. It just seemed like the right opportunity. And so many things have presented themselves that, have made us not doubt it ever since. And just listening to them talk through things when I'm, our condo's pretty open, so I can hear conversations a lot. And it's really cool to hear them hash through when things go wrong, because of course they do. And just hear the way they communicate and talk. And, does that mean things are perfect and sunny all the time? Of course not. Things happen. But it's really kind of beautiful to watch it play out. And I really do believe that our family is closer because of it. Even though there are hard, and I know that there will be more hard things that, again, it's sort of this up and down thing, but having been through it with Greg for so long now, I know, and I have complete confidence that these two are running a really good show.
Well, I love a beautiful thing. What a great phrase. And again, I got to watch these two in action. Damon, they're like two best buddies. It's just a breath of fresh air. They have a consistent, contagious enthusiasm. I had so much fun with these guys of integrity. And again, you know what, Sharon, and when you have a great son, I hate to, Greg, nothing personal. It's always, you have a great mom. When there's a great son, it's typically there's a great mom behind the scenes. And Greg, you know what I'm saying. So,
Totally.
Sharon, let's go here. Could you give us little coaching lesson? I'm asking for a friend, not for me, not for Damon. So just, take us through a little, when you're working with a client as a parent, coach, emotional intelligence. I'm not sure exactly where to start, but just, what are some tips, strategies that you could empower us with?
Sure. There's so many issues that come up in parenting and in life. And a lot of times they're kind of similar, but what comes up a lot for parents is, say your child is having tantrums and they're having tantrums in public or something. So, what we try to get parents to understand is where their child is developmentally and what skills they can expect their child to have at that age and what skills they need to help their child build as a parent, and how to be the leader that child deserves to have. And also how to take care of themselves so that they can be that leader who is there for their family. And so, again, it's kind of that questioning, and it's asking, I wonder why these tantrums are happening when we're at Target at 8:30 at night. I wonder, let's talk through that. I wonder if it could be a little too late, or I wonder. So coming at their child with curiosity,
right.
Basically it's about coming at any situation with curiosity. I wonder how we could change that. I wonder what is causing that. How could I do things differently? And can I try that out and then see how that works? I wonder how that person is feeling. What do they need personally? What is it? I ask Greg that a lot about, like, what does so-and-so, what do you think they might need to help them understand or do a job differently or better? And it's the same thing I would say to parents. Let's think about, what does your child need? Well, before we go to Target, let's make sure they're rested and fed, and that you preload them with, we're not going to get a treat today. You've got your cheese stick and your really funky dinosaur bottle of water here, and that's what we're going to have.
Right.
Does that always work? No, of course not. Kids are going to have tantrums. Adults are going to have tantrums. But really, I think curiosity is my number one word for that emotional intelligence of, instead of just saying the other person is wrong and they should do it your way, get curious about why they're doing it that way.
So if I just jump in, like a perfect example would be me coming and talking to Sharon, why can't Sam do this job? She will turn it around and say, what does he need to do the job? Right. Be curious about that and ask those questions, because obviously he wants to do the job.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. So, all right, Sharon, I don't know if she's been talking to my wife. So yeah, I had a tantrum. I'm just kidding. So Damon, what do you got?
Well, I think it's so great, Sharon. There's people like you that are helping parents now. I had this conversation with my mom. She's 80, just turned 80. Yes, 80. And she was telling me about how growing up, they were just doing it. They didn't know what was going on. And so you, Greg, Kurt, myself, our parents did everything they knew. And a lot of parents today, even younger parents, the same thing. But you're helping them understand different ways of being more encouraging. And the emotional intelligence part of that is really understanding how to help people, because that's how we get raise better kids, have happier lives, and all the things that happen. I'm just so appreciative to hear this. And that curiosity is just right at the heart of it all. And what you said, Greg, too, is I think in a lot of us that have gotten to that point or trying to get to that point, now we look at things as, why the heck wasn't that get done the way it's like, what didn't I do? Mm-hmm. What didn't I do? How did I not help them? And when leaders embrace that, the organizational culture changes, the way people treat each other changes, and it's such a great thing. But not to get past, thank you, Sharon, for what you do.
Yeah,
awesome.
What an admirable career that you've chosen. And hey, Damon, we got another comment from Captain Kirk here.
Yeah, he's talking about after having worked at my dad's manufacturing company during college summer breaks, he kind of wanted to get a return on my investment in my college education. And when I was at the front of the line, inviting me to join the company. It became a way he developed a common purpose, even though we had often had different ways of doing things. That's awesome. Yeah. And then Captain Kirk said this too: get curious to understand first is a key aspect of emotional intelligence. And it really is. It's foundational to it.
Yeah, what a powerful, powerful tool of that, how you're enabling people, Sharon, to better understand, and it could be, 55-year-old, could be whatever age, I'm a little bit hungry, I'm a little bit tired, I'm a little bit cranky. So it wasn't necessarily how, something happened hours ago. It was, and it just came out in that moment. I love that. I know, gosh, Damon, this is like flying by. I know we need to start winding down. Sam, I want to go here for a minute. Okay. So you're coming into a company that's been established for 10 years, it's the owner's son, right? The boss's son. How do you apply emotional intelligence, navigating with coworkers, teammates, dad, boss? Like how are you applying these tools?
Gosh, how am I applying these tools? Well, I get a lot of practice. I do it everything that I do every day. I try and weave emotional intelligence in there. I try to be conscious of the tone of all of my communications, understanding that no matter I come in with the label of the boss's son. So I'm conscious of that. And I understand that people will see that before they see or get to know me. So I try and take I try and communicate it as much as I can that, hey, I am here to learn. I ask questions as well. I try not to lead with any sort of thing like acting like I, for some reason, would know something that they weren't. I try and keep experience at the forefront, help me understand this, and stick to fact as much as possible, fact and things that are universally known. So just really trying to come in and be a supporter as much as I possibly can, knowing that, and we see it gets amplified quite a bit too. I don't ever want it to turn into a situation where where I could be viewed with a toxic nepotism label attached to me. I've taken that on as like a challenge. Like I never want that attached to me. So kind of understanding that people, if they get an opportunity, they will look at me like that. So really trying to be omnipresent in combating that is how I kind of approach my work every day.
Man, Damon. It's like our third moment of silence right there. Greg, all right, what's the secret, Greg and Sharon? How do you raise such a wonderful, amazing, bright, mature, list goes on. It's all, we're giving all the credit to Sharon. Greg, you're passing a buck. So I don't, you're very modest, but Greg, it kind of runs in your DNA. It goes to George and I go, you're passing it, but I commend both of you guys. Let's start. I know we're coming into time. Let's start winding down. Greg, any thoughts, words of wisdom from an entrepreneur standpoint, family, business, any parting words of wisdom that you'd want to share with folks, strategies, tips that you want to leave us with?
Well, I would say 3 things. One, our core value at Winbound now is empathy, and that's it. Empathy. So many things can come, good things come from that. Integrity, honesty, all the other things. It's got to start there. That's our core value, that and that alone. 2, if you're out there and you're looking for a coach, I think what Sharon has learned, and I've gleaned from her as now that she's a parent coach, I've heard her work with like up to 10 different parents, and they've all had amazing transformations. And Sharon has not told them one single thing to do. She has allowed them to asking through curiosity, asking them what they want to be as a parent and letting them come to their own discovery. So if you're working with a coach, I think that's really important to keep that mindset. And then 3, we got to trust the younger generation, like this knucklehead to my left here. And, we got to give these guys a chance and let them get them out there and encourage them and give them the opportunity to fail as their road to success.
We're just savoring that one, Greg. And I'll tell you, for as modest and humble as Greg is, what he just makes everybody around him better, man. It's just iron sharpens iron. You hang out with Greg Mischio, you just become a better person. Sharon, Damon, do we have another comment or question here?
Yeah, we do. It says, okay, this Dalet's got a question for Sharon. How do you manage the challenging situation when your husband imposes his opinion and son wants to do the work in their own way, as sometimes the ego come in between and people don't see really which is the best way to do the job?
Wow.
So dad says one thing, son wants to do it another way. How do you help them see it together?
Right. And I don't know if they're talking about a family business or if they're talking, because my answer might be,
I guess it could be both, right? Could be business
both,
or maybe a sporting event, right? So
it takes a lot of talking and listening. The thing about when you're coaching someone is you find out their unique family dynamic and their unique situation.
Yeah.
So sometimes a question like that is really hard to answer unless you know a few other little details. And, my biggest thing I try to tell parents is give your child some autonomy. They might fail, but they're also going to learn a lot more from that, unless it's autonomy where they could be killed or something. Like we're not going to let our 2-year-old cross the street. But, your kid can choose to wear a coat or not a coat. You know your body. Go outside and see what you think the temperature is, and you know what to do. Things like that. So, this person, a lot of us, when we've been around the block a time or two, think we know the best way. But a lot of times also a younger generation has a new way that works really, really great. And we need to give them an opportunity. So if this isn't a situation where it's going to, for sure ruin something or, it would be great if they can sit down and talk through it and maybe come together and reach a consensus.
Awesome. There you go.
Man, Damon, it's like a free coaching lesson today.
I know.
Is this just and now to be honest, now we're finding out what makes Greg so good, right? So that we're getting the other side of things here. So Sam, as we wind down, parting thoughts, words of wisdom, anything that you want to share for the younger generation on how to deal with us older, goofy people. What are your thoughts there?
I would say there's a balance that needs to be observed there. My first word of advice would be come in with respect. The system has worked for a long time, and the generation who's handing the reins down has made it that way. So there's decades of experience that the young generation just does not have, and experience is the best teacher. So it would be foolish to dismiss that out of hand. So do the best you can to learn everything you can, ask as many questions as you possibly can, because they've seen it happen, and they know something that you don't, and that's just a fact. So, but then you can take all the facts that you learn from them, and then also apply the facts that you have seen and see if there's any disconnect in the middle. And that's your opportunity to come together, improve, and build something new.
Wow.
But you got to do that, though, you have to be willing to look for the facts, because they're not just going to present themselves. You got to know, all ties back to the questions and curiosity. Know what questions to ask, know what your end goal is, so you can search and obtain that information, and then know how to apply it objectively in the middle, so that then you can build something even better.
Gosh, man, brilliant. Absolutely dropped the mic again. So Sam, last question. So I know Mark Twain said when he left his home at 18, he was just shocked and amazed of how smart his father was when he came home at 22. Did you find that when you left the home at 18 and you came home at 22, did you find your dad was a little bit smarter?
Oh, I still find that out every day. No, it's been, ever since it's been 9 years, almost 10 now.
He's getting smarter every day, isn't he? So
it's just, and that's experience coming into play, like all the things. And now I remember ththings that I didn't back then, because it now has returned to my life. Advice I was given that I may have brushed off before. It's oh, yep, that is 100% true. I'm never right.
Yeah, he was like, man, I guess the old man did know what he was talking about. So yeah. I absolutely love it. So all right, we're gonna wind down. And Mischio, so I have they're just absolutely crushing it. They've got a ton of things to do. It was just such an honor and privilege that they took an hour out of their day to join us. I cannot express my thanks, my gratitude, my admiration, my trust, Greg Mischio. This was just such. I had such high expectations, and you guys just absolutely blew right past that. So, Damon, as we close down, I always love to say, hey, just go out and be someone's inspiration, just like the three Mischios here. And how about if you've been hanging out with us for, how about a big round of applause? Jump out of your chair, give a standing ovation for Sharon, Greg, Sam Mischio. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Go to Winbound, and if you're a manufacturer out there, do yourself a favor. Check out what's going on with Greg at Winbound. Our parents out there, you need a little coaching lesson. Check out our friend Sharon Mischio. She is here to help. My God, Damon, I'm like a proud uncle right now. So
one real quick thing, I think this is one thing. I'm glad, Casey Hardison, I'm glad you said this. Curiosity killed the cat. That is right to a certain degree, but that's curiosity applied without emotional intelligence. Like if you stick your head in a rocket tube before it starts off, of course, curiosity is going to kill you, but you need to kind of sense when and where to be curious.
Yep. Great point.
That's look what happened to me, right, Sam? So I'm just kidding. All right, guys, we're going to close it down. We want to just thank everybody for joining us. Damon, close us out, will you, my friend?
All right. Well, I just want to thank everyone for being here today. First of all, the Mischios for being here. So cool to have Sharon and Greg and Sam here with us today talking about emotional intelligence and building a thriving family business with emotional intelligence. Also want to thank Bruce, Captain Kirk, Casey, Dalit, and wow, there's so many other people in here. Kelly Robinson's for stopping by, Rock for stopping by, long-term friend and client, worked together with Greg. And then we've got, oh God, we got Dale was here today. I'm just going back through them, Meet, and just so many. Jason, Schuler. Oh, thanks for everyone for being here and dropping the comments. If you got in here late, go back to the beginning. You're going to be ready to go. You should listen to this and go back through it again. Wow, we are done today. We will be back again next week, everyone. hang out, guys, and we'll finish up offline. Everybody else, be incredible this weekend.